Let us pay homage to the Buddha, fully enlightened one. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So tonight, the talk I'm going to give will be the talk given by our Buddha directly at the Buddha time. At that time, our Buddha was staying at Savatthi. Before going to give a talk, I want to ask all of you, we all are humans. We all live as a human. We all born as a human. One day, we all will pass away as a human. Between birth and death, what are we all doing? Do you know? As a human, we live as a human. One day, we will pass away. But almost all the humans don't know what they all are doing. If I say in this way, are you all agree with me? Yes. So for that reason, tonight's talk, the name of the talk I have chosen is What Are Humans Doing? Do you want to know? Yes, it will be very interesting talk, a very helpful talk for all of you. So, this talk was given by Buddha at midnight. What are we all doing at midnight? Sleeping. But our Buddha was walking. Why? To know this, I have to explain the daily walk of the Buddha. Buddha divides 5 periods a day. It is not only one day. The whole his lifetime before he take final pranibhana, or every day he did for the benefit of all beings, dividing 5 periods a day. I will not explain all the 5 periods done by Buddha in his lifetime. I will explain especially the time, the periods that happened this talk. When Buddha was alive, in his daily life, from morning, early morning till midnight, until the next early morning, he is continuously working for the benefit of all the beings. Now the time we are giving a Dhamma talk, it is not midnight, it is early night. This time, at the Buddha time, especially bhikkhus, they approached the Buddha and they make a question. Some they questions Buddha, some they report about their meditation practice, some they request our Buddha to give it a Dhamma talk. Buddha also did according to the request of different bhikkhus. So before midnight, all the bhikkhus went back to their places. Some for meditation, some for taking rest, some for walking meditation. According to their wishes, they went back before midnight. Only then, devils from the devil's world, Brahma from the Brahma world, they've got an opportunity to see the Buddha. So only at that time they came down to the human world. This is the talk given to a deva by our Buddha. So at midnight time, a deva came down to human world to see the Buddha. And he approached the Buddha and asked a question. Prepare beforehand. What is the question? He asked the Buddha. The devil asked our Buddha, Buddha, how did you cross the flood? Buddha answered, by not stopping, by not struggling, I have crossed the flood difficult to cross. So, when the Buddha gave answer, I have crossed the flood difficult to cross by not stopping, by not struggling. When the devil heard the answer, he can't understand. That's why he asked a question to the Buddha again. How is it, Buddha, that you cross the flood difficult to cross by not stopping, by not struggling? So now here you all have already heard the answer and question of devil and our Buddha. The question made by devil, how did you cross the flood, Buddha? And the answer is, by not stopping, by not struggling, I have crossed the flood. Here I need to explain a little bit of the attitude of the devil. Devils, really to say, the one who is proud of himself, he knows what the floods are, and he knows the Buddha has crossed the flood. But what he didn't know yet is how the Buddha has crossed. If the Buddha just say how he has crossed the flood, he think himself, I will understand it. Even though when the Buddha answer, by not stopping, by not struggling, I have crossed the flood difficult to cross. When he heard the answer, he can't understand. That's why he make a second question. Do you all understand the question and answer of Deva and our Buddha? I believe you can't understand. As for me too, if I heard the answer of the Buddha, I can't understand. Because of the explanation that appear in the commentary, we can understand this sutta. That's why today's talk I will add the explanation given in the commentary too. Only then you all will understand. So when the devil asked the second question, Buddha answered, "If I came to a standstill, I sank. If I struggled, I've got swept away. In this way, by not stopping, by not struggling, I've crossed the flood difficult to cross." So here, you all have heard the floods. What are the floods? This is what we need to know. In other words, sinking and sweeping away. What here means, it is also not easy to understand if we read directly the talk given by Buddha. Because we humans, compared to the Brahma Devas, Brahma and Deva, they are very sharp. When Buddha gave this short answer, that Deva understand that at the end of the talk, short talk, that Deva attained Sotapanna. Is there anybody who has already attained Sotapanna here? For sure, there is nobody. So only after listening the explanation of the commentary, you will understand, but not for attainment of Sotapanna. Okay. Flood. In Pali, we call Auga. Auga means flood. Just as great flood sweep away humans and animals into the great ocean, so also the four floods sweep away human and animals into the rounds of rebirth, samsara. So floods, those who never study Abhidhamma, it is not easy to understand. The commentary, a commentator, quote the explanation of floods from the Abhidhamma. So they are not explaining their own idea. Commentator, especially they quote from Abhidhamma or from other sutta. Here, floods. What are the floods? I will continue. What are the four floods? The first one is the flood of sensual desire. In Pali, Kamoga. The second one, the flood of becoming. In Pali, Bhavoga. The third one is the flood of wrong view, Detoga in Pali. The last one, the flood of ignorance, Avijjoga. These are the four floods hard to cross. So, what is the flood of sensual desire? As you all know, people all over the world have strong attachment to 5 sensual objects, right? Everybody, they have strong attachment to external 5 sensual objects. Because of strong attachment to it, because they are in the middle of these 5 sensual pleasures, that they can't cross the flood. The second flood, finish?
Yes.
The second flood. Remember, what is the second flood? The flood of becoming. Strong attachment to Brahma life. And jhana concentration. This is the second flood. Because of strong attachment to Brahma life and jhana concentration, so that all the beings can't make an end of suffering, can't cross the flood difficult to cross. The third flood is the flood of wrong view. There are 62 types of wrong view. Among them, the dangerous wrong view and the wrong view that we have to remove is self-identity. In Pali, Sakaya deity. So those who have attained Sotapanna, it means they have removed completely this self-identity, Sakaya deity, and doubt. Because of having removed self-identity and doubt, they are free from falling to the four woeful states. So the last flood, the flood of ignorance, not knowing the Four Noble Truths. This is called the flood of ignorance. So now you all know what the four floods are. The devil, the question that made by devil, how do you cross the flood, Buddha? And the Buddha answered, by not stopping, by not struggling, I've crossed the flood difficult to cross. So you will understand what the Buddha has crossed. So because of flood of ignorance, we wrong knowing as man, we wrong knowing as woman. Now here, some are women, some are men. Why we are born as men and why we are born as women? This is because of the flood of ignorance. So because of the flood of ignorance, whenever we do wholesome deeds, such as offering food, flowers, at that time, what we do? We make an aspiration. Because of this kusala karma, I may reborn as man, I may reborn as woman. This is because of the flood of ignorance. So, according to the teaching of Buddha, there is no man, there is no woman, there is no devas, there is no Brahma. There is only Nama and Rupa, mentality and materiality. Are you all agree with it? Yes, we agree because of hearing of the teaching of Buddha. We haven't penetrated practically. That's why sometimes we want to object that there is man, there is woman. As you see, now here I am a man, and you may see. As you see now, you see, I am a woman, you may see it. Because of not penetrating by yourself. Sometimes the doubt feeling may arise. So Buddha said, there is no man, there is no woman. There is Nama and Rupa. In other words, there are 5 aggregates only. because of the flood of wrong view, because of not penetrating the Dhamma as they really are, people don't know that really exists only 5 aggregates. They think as, this is I, this is mine, this is my son, this is my daughter, this is my father. This is because of the flood of wrong view. So because of the flood of ignorance, the flood of wrong view, we think there is man, there is woman. That's why the flood of sensual desire, attachment to woman life, attachment to man life, attachment to devil's life, attachment to Brahma life occur. So the flood of sensual desire is a strong attachment to the visible objects, sound object, smell object, taste object, and tangible object. This arise. So, wrong knowing as man, wrong knowing as woman, it is a little bit better. There is one true story that happened. This story was taught by our Buddha too. Why? That story, if I tell you, maybe you may be the one who were wrong knowing as such way. And the Buddha said that story. Sometimes we wrong knowing as dog, we wrong knowing as birds. Because of that knowing, we are born as dog, we are born as birds. So there was man and woman, wife and husband. One day they went across the desert. Because of lacking of food, they feel very tired. They feel very hungry. They feel very thirsty. And one day, they arrived to a small village. So, when they got there, one of the villagers knew that they are very hungry, they are very tired, they are very thirsty because of lacking of food. He offered both of them food. Because of hunger, they eat the food offered by the villager. They both are very hungry that they eat the food offered by the villager, especially husband, who eat a lot, seeing the dog eating the same food with them, the dog of the villager. Because of seeing the dog eating very good food as they are eating, that husband think it is better to be a dog. Is it good? Why? Sometimes, for example, those who are in prison, if they see birds flying outside, their life is in prison. Okay? Oh, it is better to be a bird, they may think. Okay? So in the same way, this husband, so he is very hungry because of lacking of food along the way, that when he saw the food, when he saw the dog eating very good food, he think maybe that dog have a chance to eat that type of food every day, but I have no food along the way, that it is better to be a dog. Okay? Sometimes that type of ignorance may arise. Okay? What happened? He is the one who is so hungry that eat a lot. And then there he died. He became a dog there. So because of ignorance, because of the flood of ignorance, so be careful. If you see some animals, oh, very beautiful, maybe it is the floods of ignorance. That's why how dangerous the flood of ignorance. Because of having no right view, because of self-identity, understand and think man as man, woman as woman, dog as dog, birds as birds. This is because of the floods of ignorance and the floods of wrong view. So the second flood, the flood of becoming, strong attachment to Brahma life and jhana concentration. Because of the floods of becoming at Pa-Auk, some of my students who have attained jhana concentration and who can practice ultimate mentality, materiality, that they have the attachment to Brahma life Auk. Why? They are human, that they know the danger of human life, the weakness of human life, the suffering of human life, that they don't want to be reborn as human again. Because they have attained jhana concentration, that they say me, if I have died, I want to be reborn as Brahma, because of the flood of becoming. So now you all understand what the four floods are and how they work. So in the answer of Buddha, Buddha said, by not stopping, by not struggling, I've crossed the flood difficult to cross. Here, what is stopping? What is struggling? Do you understand? No. Stopping. What is stopping? As a human, we are born. As a human, we live. As a human, one day we will die. Between birth and death, what we are mostly doing, kusala or akusala? Please be honest. Akusala. Yes. According to the words of Buddha, mind delights in sensual pleasure, that mostly what we do is akusala. Stopping here means doing and wholesome karma. What is struggling? Now, here, we all are meditation. We all are practicing meditation. We all are doing kusala or akusala? Kusala. Every morning, many lay devotees come and offer. Is it kusala, akusala? Kusala. Now you all are listening the Dhamma talk. Is it kusala, akusala? Kusala. So, As a human, we live. As a human, we will die one day. Mostly what we usually do is akusala, but sometimes we do kusala too. This is struggling. Even you all know what is stopping and what is struggling. You all can't get the meaning and the way what humans are doing. The talk title is what are humans doing? To understand what we humans are doing, I have to explain the answer of Buddha. Even the Buddha answered by not stopping, by not struggling, I've crossed the flood difficult to cross. Did the devil understand? No. Okay? And then Buddha answered because of asking question again. So the answer for second question is, if I came to a standstill, I sank. If I struggled, I've got swept away. Or if I struggle, I drift away. This is the answer of Buddha. Here I have to explain what is sinking and what is sweeping away or what is drifting. What is sinking and what is drifting. I will use sweeping away as drifting. Because of unwholesome deeds, we sink. Where do we sink? In the four woeful states. Because of struggling. Struggling means what? Wholesome deeds. We drift or we sweep away in the current of flood of becoming. Or we drift away as a human, as a devil, as a Brahma. Four states. And or we born as animal, we born as hell beings, we born as ghost, we born as hungry ghost. This is sinking. Born as human, born as devas, and born as Brahma. This is drifting. With opportunity is much more for all of us. So to clarify it, I have to quote one of the sutta from Mahavega, directly taught by our Buddha. On one occasion, the Buddha took up a little bit of soil in his fingernail and asked all the bhikkhu, "How do you think, bhikkhu? A little bit of soil in my fingernail and the great earth, which is more?" Is it a difficult question? How do you answer if our Buddha asked directly to you? Great earth or a little bit in the fingernail? So this question is very easy question that all the bhikkhu answer, Buddha, a little bit of soil in your fingernail compared to the great earth, it is a comparison. It does not amount even to a friction. It cannot bear comparison. This is the answer of the bhikkhus. A little bit of soil you have taken in your fingernail is very, very little, Buddha, compared to the great earth. When the bhikkhu replied in this way, Buddha said, in the same way, bhikkhu, those beings are few. Who they die as humans, reborn as humans are very few. Those beings are more numerous. When they die as human, reborn in the four states. Buddha continue, those beings are very few who are born as devas when they die as humans. In the same way, those beings are very few who are born as devas when they die as human. Those beings are more numerous. When they die as humans, reborn in the four states. Buddha continue, those beings are very few who reborn as devas when they die as devas. Those beings are more numerous who reborn as those beings are more numerous who reborn in the four states. In the same way, those beings are many, those beings are very few who reborn as human when they die as devas. Those beings are more numerous who are reborn in the four states. In the same way, when an animal died, to be reborn as humans, to be reborn as devas are very difficult. Those beings are more numerous who reborn as animals when they die as animals. Buddha continue for ghost, angry ghost, in the same way. So now we all should think. We do akusala more in our life. Kusala is a little bit compared to the akusala. To clarify it, now those who are practicing meditation in Shaolin Monastery, are they many compared to the people in the Singapore, which are many, which are few? Okay? If we compare to the people in the world and those who are practicing meditation and listening the Dhamma talk and doing kusala, who are more clear? those who have been to Pa-Auk before, they may know there are many meditators are practicing meditation in Pa-Auk. But compared to the people living in the Pa-Auk village, it is very few. If we compare the people living in Molamyai, the people in the Pa-Auk, it is very few. Compared to the people staying in Myanmar, compared to the people living in the whole world. So it becomes very clear for all of us. Here I want to ask a question. Are you all on the fingernail or in the great art? What is the answer? Great art? Yes. If you want to be in the great art, what do you need to do? Don't go back. Come to Pa-Auk. Practice meditation there the rest of your life. And then it will be sure. Maybe you will be in the fingernail. Okay? Now if you go back again, what will you do? You will be in the four floods. So you will do more akusala than kusala, that your life will not be sure. You will be on the fingernail again. Okay? If you don't want to be, please change your attitude. Why I don't want all of you to go back to the place you live? There is reason. For that reason, I want to ask, do people really know wholesome and unwholesome? How will you answer? Some may answer, even ordinary person can differentiate what is wholesome and unwholesome. If you want to answer this question in this way, I have to prove whether they know wholesome and unwholesome really or not. At one time, our Buddha was asked, even everybody wished to be happy, most of them are unhappy. Why most of them are unhappy? In this way, the Buddha was asked. The Buddha answered that it was due to jealousy and stinginess. Owing to these defilements, many people seek only for the happiness of their self, ignoring the welfare of others, even to extent causing harm to others. Is that right? Yes. However, seeking happiness in the wrong way brings little joy, but much suffering. The worst thing is that they are unaware of what they are unaware of, that they are wrong. Because they can't differentiate what is wholesome and unwholesome. You may think that this is not true, and hold that even normal person can differentiate what is wholesome and unwholesome. To clarify this, let me ask you a few questions. In the morning, when you take a copy of newspaper, what does newspaper teach you? Can you answer me? If you don't want to speak out, just keep in your mind. In the evening, after coming back from your walk, you take a bath, you take shower, and you take your dinner. And then you sit down and watch television. What does television teach you? Both of them teach you to increase greed, showing that various kinds of sensual pleasures are happiness. Right? People think it is real happiness. I've seen a book titled Happiness Difficult to See. Really to say, if you seek the happiness through television, through newspaper, for sure you will not see real happiness. Happiness difficult to see is in the middle of sensual pleasure. Furthermore, they show you how to violate. That's why many violent things are happening in the whole world. They poison the mind of young people and old people too. But they think this is happiness. They think this is real happiness. This is not real happiness. Those who watch TV, many TV programs, they gain a lot of perception, mostly bad perception. Buddha said perception is total. The more you have perception, the more you will suffer for it. Correct? Not only perception is total, Buddha said feeling is total. Because of seeing, because of experiencing in one life something what you like, you want to experience again. Because of feeling you begin. That's why feeling makes you suffer. The more you have experience, the more you will suffer for it. So, with the newspaper, magazines, and even seeing your different things to do, to provide, and to image, so these all are good. They fall to the four woeful states again. This is our real home. This is the home we live permanently. We are born as human endeavors. Buddha said we visit for a while. One day, according to your karma that accumulated, especially akusala karma in our daily life, between birth and death, that finally we fall to the four woeful states again. Let me ask you a question. Is there anybody who make an aspiration to fall to the four woeful states? Nobody make an aspiration. But as you all know, we live mostly in the home of greed. We live mostly in the home of anger. We live mostly in the home of jealousy, stinginess, pride, delusion, that what these Dhamma can make you is to fall to the four woeful states. So even you don't make an aspiration to fall to the four woeful states, the home you live is greed, anger, delusion, jealousy, stinginess, pride, that where will you go? Please think carefully. If we fall to the four woeful states, what happened? I have to make it clear. To clarify it, I have to quote one of the sutta in the same way. It is from Mahavegga. Buddha, on one occasion, our Buddha said, suppose there was a man who would throw a yoke with a single hole into the great ocean. There was also a blind Tata which comes up to the surface once every 100 years. Buddha continued. How do you think, Bhikkhu? Is it possible that the neck of a blind Tata, which come up to the surface once every 100 years, insert index to that hole of the yoke? So the bhikkhus replied, Buddha, according to your teaching, we know that the whole cycle is very long. So in this world cycle, if the blind Tata which come up to a surface once every 100 years doesn't die, and a yoke with single hole has not been damaged, maybe one day the neck of the blind Tata will insert into the hole of the yoke. Buddha continued, Bhikkhu, it is sooner. The neck of the blind Tata which comes up to the surface once every 100 years, insert into the hole of that yoke is more sooner than who fall into the four states to be reborn as devil, human again. How fearful it is. Buddha said, this is because of not knowing the Four Noble Truths. The Noble Truth of suffering, the Noble Truth of origin of suffering, the Noble Truth of cessation, the Noble Truth of a path leading to the cessation. That beings fall to the four states, and not easy to come up as a human, as a devils again. Now what I have emphasized is for thinking. Because of akusala deeds, we fall to the four states. That what will happen after we have fallen into the four states. Now I have to continue for drifting. For sure, now we are humans. In our previous past life, at the near-death moment, the object that appears at the near-death moment is kusala, object that we are born as human in this life. So this is because of kusala karma that we have accumulated in our life. As you all know yourself, you all have accumulated many akusala deeds and kusala deeds. More is akusala, few is kusala. That in this life, at the near death moment, if the akusala object appear, for sure, we will fall to the four woeful states again. As you all know the words of Buddha, those beings are few when they die as human, to be reborn as human. Those beings are more numerous when they die as human, to be reborn in the four woeful states. Even we are humans in the good realm, like a person crossing the river. If we cross, or if someone crosses the river, for sure, he can't struggle all the time. Sometimes he has to stop. And then sometimes he has to struggle to be able to cross. But if we don't get the support of the strength, we will sink again. If we don't get the support of kusala, we may sink again. If we get the support of kusala karma, we may drift away as human, as devas. So I think now you all understand the answer of Buddha. By not stopping, by not struggling, I've crossed the floods difficult to cross. And also, you all know that what humans are doing. All the people in the world, all the humans, they are doing for sinking and they are doing for drifting only. So Buddha's brief reply, by not stopping, by not struggling, I cross the flood difficult to cross, points out the middle way, Majjhima Patipada. So if you all want to cross the floods difficult to cross, you all must follow the middle way. The practice of sila, samadhi, and panya. Now you all are practicing sila practice, samadhi. Some they are practicing panya, some. So if you all don't want to sink, don't want to drift away,